Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the 170th edition of the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G. I'm David Ellis, alongside his Texas A&M head coach, G Guerrieri. And we're back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is.
It's good to be back, and it means that the SEC soccer calendar has kicked off and the season has begun, and it all gets rolling this Thursday, and we're excited to get that season going again.
Well, it does. Since we were here the last time, the Aggies have played 8 non-conference games, come out 5-3 over that schedule, and with the let's see, what was it, the 55th RPI rank in
number 55 out of 348.
Yeah, so
could be a lot worse, but it's
the
SEC is in pretty good shape as far as our teams go, and we are in a decent position right now to make a good run in the SEC side of the schedule.
The Aggies just coming back, in fact, getting back in about 3:30 Monday morning from Connecticut trip, played Central Connecticut on Thursday, and UConn on Sunday afternoon, picked up the victory against Central Connecticut, and UConn was a whole different story. We can talk about that a little bit, but nonetheless.
Yeah, and a long day of travel, because there was commercial flights from Hartford to Nashville, then a layover in Nashville, then Nashville to Austin, got in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then drive from Austin back into College Station, got here about 3:30, and then and then getting back into College Station, and then of course the girls didn't have. It was not an excused absence for them to miss, so they were into class at 8 o'clock that morning. So it's been, and then we're going to leave town tomorrow. So it's been a pretty quick turnaround.
To go to Missouri, you're right. One of the most disgusting things about getting old that I have found is that now I get up at 6:30. It doesn't matter how much sleep I've had. I just get up. And so, I got to bed about 4. I'm up at 6:30.
Yeah, well.
And dragging around all day yesterday.
Well, the girls have bounced back well. Today training was very good. They look good. They're motivated and ready to roll. It was a good day of training today. Yesterday was obviously a recovery day and a day off. And so we'll train again tomorrow before we hop on the plane and head to Como. Well, and
you have the loss on Sunday, a disappointing loss in terms of the way the team prepared. Kind of what is your philosophy? What do you communicate to the team coming off that loss?
Well, I mean, we went into the game on a 3-game winning streak with three straight wins, 3 straight shutouts, and things had been going pretty smoothly, and we went into that game, and again, we're playing on a lot of things were different about the way that particular match was, and we played a good team, and again, we're going to play teams that are always going to be motivated to play against us, because we bring a big name and a big national reputation, and we played a team that got 9 shots on goal and 6 of them went in, and some great shots, and we created some chances, but we didn't finish that kind of percentage that like they did, and so it was so for us, we've got to find a way to flush what was behind us, because we can't go back. We've got to only go forward from it. Look at the whys, and there was a lot of whys that were all based on us, and the lack of execution, the lack of thought process, and things that we were not doing in the way that we went about that game, and correct a lot of those situations from a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint, from all the way down the line, and learn from what are the things that we can do better, and make those corrections, make those adjustments, and turn around and try to check as many of those boxes as we possibly can before we kick off on Thursday night in Columbia.
Would be remiss if I didn't mention the game against Central Connecticut. The Aggies came away with 2 second-half goals, and Jazz Wilkinson got her first goal of the season. The assist went to Margot Matula and Grace McClellan. And then Kennedy Clark picked up her first goal. Allison Lowrey, Allie Lowrey picked up an assist along with Macy Matula. And as a matter of fact, Allie Lowrey is going to be one of our guests tonight, along with Leah Pirro, so you don't want to go anywhere. They'll be on in the second segment, so we'll have both of them here. I did want to ask you, this is the first 2 times we have played on turf since the Big 12 days when we had to go to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it was people don't realize maybe how fast a field, Ellis Field, is. These 2 artificial turf fields were slower than the pitch at Ellis Field.
Significantly slower.
Yeah, which is just, I thought just intuitively that, man, these fields are going to be fast. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Ellis Field is faster.
Well, old school turf was really fast because there was no granular, there's none of that, none of the fill that's in these artificial turf fields that slow the ball down. There's no kind of, there's no friction to bring the ball down slower and make it more natural, more of a natural bounce and natural surfaces that they've tried to do to make it more ground-like or grass-like. Well, I mean, our field, Ellis Field, is a perfect surface. It's soft. It's soft. It's quick, and it's mowed at about 3/5 of an inch long, and so the ball zips. And so getting our tempo in the first game against Central, it took a lot, and it was a narrow field. It was about 70 yards wide, and ours is 75 yards wide. So Central was able to kind of play in a mid block against us, and they kind of packed it in narrow, and they packed it in kind of in a small space. And so the ball wasn't moving as fast, so it was easier to defend us. And we're like, son of a gun, we can't find any space at all to play. And so some adjustments at halftime, and we were able to get those things sorted out. It was great for Jazz to get her first goal. Jazz was our leading scorer last year. Great for her to get a good goal to kind of break the seal to get it going. Great for Kennedy to get a goal to get her first one as an Aggie. And, we outshot, in the first half, I think we only took 6 shots in the first half, and we took like 19 shots in the second half. So a real change of kind of just change of attitude, change of pace that we were able to put from the first half to the second half. But then in the game in Stores, bigger field, a little bit faster, but we just never really got our mojo going, and our possession game was just completely off in that particular one. And you got to give UConn a lot of credit. I mean, UConn was just a better team on the day, and you can't take anything away from them. They were terrific. They prepared well for it, and we were just off. We were off in pretty much everything we did.
Yeah, it was just one of those days where nothing goes right, and it doesn't go right from the get-go, and it just kind of it just goes downhill from there in a lot of ways. And it was just again one of those days.
So the good news is we get to play 5 days later. So
exactly.
So let's roll.
Yeah, exactly. You get to do that, and the SEC conference starts, and you wipe the slate clean. And again, we've got so many opportunities. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. The first RPI came out today, or yesterday, as a matter of fact, and this is what's going to be very interesting about this schedule. The Aggies have so much in front of them in terms of opportunities because of the teams in the SEC that they're going to play. Mm-hmm. And it is the opportunities are just going to be there, and it's going to be fun to watch and see how that develops.
And some big games coming up at Ellis Field, which will be fun for people to see too.
Oh, huge. Absolutely. Speaking of big games, conference schedule, as we mentioned, gets underway on Thursday, and we've got some big ones coming up. Kentucky is undefeated, went through the non-conference schedule undefeated. They're going to take on a Florida team that's got 4 ties out of 8 games already. Vanderbilt and Auburn. Auburn is 8-0-0 on the season. Vanderbilt is 5-0-2.
Yeah, Auburn has not given up a goal yet.
Yep, and it's going to be that's going to be a great contest. And again, those are on Thursday. And then Alabama will travel to Austin to take on the University of Texas. Alabama is 7-2 on the season. They don't have that strong of an RPI reflective of kind of non-conference schedule they've had, but Texas is 7-0-1. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch as well. And of course, the Aggies travel to Columbia, Missouri, as we were talking about, to take on the Missouri Tigers. So that's going to be a fun game.
You know,
as well.
and one of the other games too that I think will be interesting is South Carolina going to Georgia.
Yeah,
and Georgia's played a really, really difficult schedule. You know, they're 4-2-2. You know, but that includes a tie against Florida State.
Right.
The first game that Florida State hasn't just rolled over somebody
Right.
in the last 2 years. You know, they've played a lot of really, really good teams, and I think that they've been kind of battle tested as the preseason, the non-conference portion of the season has gone on. South Carolina undefeated, 3 wins, 4 ties, which is typical South Carolina.
I was going to say they've just South Carolina this thing to death. I mean, they are 3-0-4.
They are the
South Carolina.
They are like, if you think about like Chris Everett, you know, which is just like dink, 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 just knocking the ball back, never hitting a screaming backhand across the court, but just knocking the ball back and just getting the ball back and
waiting for you to make a mistake.
That's right, and you know that's South Carolina, and they're just going to make the game go on forever. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Again, that's a good little rivalry there. So that'll be another one that's interesting to watch on Thursday night. So there's a lot of really good games on that first night. And I know then the other one is Oklahoma is going to be hosting Mississippi State. That's the other game on Thursday night, and that'll be Oklahoma's first game. I know that they've got like a big fireworks show and everything else going on there in Norman. They're excited about their first ever SEC match in Oklahoma, and then of course they're going to come to us on Sunday.
Well, and Mississippi State is 6-1 in the preseason. Oklahoma 7-1. So I mean, two good teams, and so that will be fun. And as you mentioned, 2:00 on Sunday afternoon, the Sooners will be here to take on the Aggies, and the Sooners got a new coach, old coach at Ole Miss. So he's now in Norman, and so somebody's coming in. Even though Oklahoma is new to the SEC, their coach has been in the SEC a while.
That's right. Right, and knows us well, and you know, and I'm excited about the the 2 former Big 12 teams coming into the SEC. As far as just you've got like an East and West. The East and West portions of the SEC now, and the eastern side of the conference are a lot of the traditional SEC rivalries, the old school rivalries. You got Tennessee and Alabama, and
Sure.
you got Kentucky over there, and you got Florida and Auburn and those guys, and the old tried and true SEC rivalries. And then over here on quote our side, you've got a lot of going back to Southwest Conference days and
Right.
Big 12 days and even Big 8 days with Mizzou and Oklahoma. And so I think it's kind of cool that some of these older rivalries now are rekindled in the bigger, better SEC. And I think it's fun, and it's in this new model that's coming in 2025 and 2026. I think it's made it to where SEC soccer is going to be pretty darn strong, and I can tell you from on the recruiting side of things, we've had some great commitments coming forward, as have other schools in the league, and there's some really fun times coming ahead.
Yeah, you talk about some of these old rivalries. You've got Missouri and Oklahoma. Of course, they do not like each other at all, and that goes way back to the old Big 12 days. And of course, you've got Texas and Arkansas. And they don't like each other and never have, going back to the SEC, the SWC
Southwest
days.
Conference, yeah.
And then the same thing with Texas A&M and Texas, going back to
there's some hatred there, yeah, I think
just
so.
Just a touch, yes. And so you've got all these things kind of rekindled, as you're talking about, in terms of this kind of new version of the SEC, and it is a strong soccer conference, and strong basically across all the sports.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
soccer in particular.
Seriously, pick your sport.
Yeah.
Pick your sport. It's going to be a national throwdown in pretty much anything. If you're talking about baseball, if you're talking about softball, you're talking about soccer, you're talking about swimming, and obviously, football. Every week is big time. And so for those of us who get to live in these quiet college towns,
mm-hmm.
it's pretty darn cool. It's a lot of fun.
It is, and the thing that's so different about the SEC as opposed to the Big 12 or some of these other conferences is that the difference between the number 1 team and the number 16 team.
Yeah.
It's
Not very much.
Not very much.
Yep.
And any one of those teams at 1 through 16 will beat you.
Yep.
If you are not ready to play.
That's
and
right.
That's the difference between the SEC and a lot of other conferences.
Well, I think it's the difference between us and the Big Ten is
Right.
that, the Big Ten, you've got some obviously you've got some excellent teams all the way across, but I don't think that number 16 is going to step up and knock off number 1, where it could really happen here.
Sure.
At least in our sport.
Absolutely.
And it's an amazing process. Another reason why you don't bet on college sports, kids. Just don't do it.
Just another many reasons. Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Allie Lowrey and Leah Pirro. They're sitting right over there. They're going to be sitting right up here.
Two of our favorite new players
Absolutely.
who are not new to college soccer.
That is for sure. And they're going to be right back here in just a second. You are listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G, and we'll be back right after this. And we are joined by 2 Texas A&M soccer players who are new to you as Aggie fans, but not new to soccer and people who follow soccer. And listening to them during the break, it's pretty clear to me that Coach G and I have already lost control of the show. So on my immediate left is going to be Allie Lowrey. And she comes to us from Rutgers, a transfer from Rutgers, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. And on her left is Leah Pirro. And Leah, as you may know, one of the things that we do after we take this first break is we always have one of the players who's a guest on the show read this commercial for Rudy's Barbecue. And so one of the things you have to realize, this is the 170th show.
Oh, wow.
We have never yet had a player who has messed this up. Okay?
Perfect. No pressure.
So I just wanted to let you know.
Well, they've always been freshmen, so they didn't even know if they were screwing up anyway.
Oh, gosh.
So you being a graduate, there's no pressure at all on
Yeah,
you.
so, okay.
Perfect.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, hit it.
Soccer and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in a 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com.
There you go.
Nice.
Very good.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
good,
you.
Leah.
All right, we're still riding the streak, 170 in a row without somebody messing it up. Congratulations. That is
Perfect.
super. All right. So I'm going to ask you guys first.
Well, and Leah,
Yeah.
by the way, Leah is from California, from
Right.
Simi Valley, and she is a transfer from Grand Canyon, and before that, she was a transfer from San Diego.
Right.
So she's on school 3.
Yes. Yes.
Have you finally found
Third
one?
time's a charm.
Have you finally found one you like, Leah?
I love it here. I love
There
it.
you go.
Well, that is good. And so Allie comes to us from New Jersey. You were born in Bridgewater, New Jersey, and played 4 years at Rutgers, right?
Yes.
So both of these players are both grad students, right? So the first question I want to ask you is, how did you end up at Texas A&M? And we're glad you did, but how did you get here? And Allie, we'll start with you.
I just felt so I have a COVID year, and I was prepared to take my 5th year at Rutgers, and then I just felt God telling me, like, you know what, you got a 5th year for a reason. You go somewhere else, go out of your comfort zone. I did a few visits. Texas A&M was my last visit, and as soon as I got to campus, I got right back to my hotel room, I called my parents. I was like, this is where we're going. We didn't talk. They didn't offer me, but this is where I'm going. And yeah,
And
here I
you
am.
ended up, so, coming all the way down from Bridgewater, New Jersey, did your parents kind of say, that's a long way away from here?
My mother cried for days. She was happy for me, but she was very upset.
Well, I met your mom at Central Connecticut and your dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your mom is not crying anymore.
No,
I will
not.
tell you that. And she's a delightful lady. And so is your dog, by the way. What's your dog's name?
His name's Blue.
Blue? Mm-hmm. That's a good-looking dog.
It is. He had to stay home, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, but he's a good-looking dog. All right, Leah, how did you, from Simi Valley to San Diego State, Grand Canyon?
No, San Diego.
San Diego, excuse me. Grand Canyon and Texas A&M. How did you end up here?
I was actually really similar to Allie. I actually have 2 years left. I have a redshirt year and a COVID year. And I was just looking for a little bit of change of scenery. And as soon as I got to Texas A&M, I texted my parents, my sisters, and my closest friends. And I was like, this is the school for me. I am coming here. Same thing. They hadn't offered me yet. Hadn't even talked with the coaches. But I was like, this is the school for me. Like, this is the one. I'm coming here.
Boy, that's nice to hear you say that. Both of you say that. That's I have been here now. I came back here in 1989, and I remember telling my dad. I was working on my doctorate at the time, and telling my dad. He said, "So where are you gonna go to work after you get your doctorate?" And I said, "I ain't going anywhere. I'm staying right here." And it's such a great community and a great place to be. So, all right. Both of you grad students. So talk about, first we'll go back to you, Allie. Tell us what you're majoring in terms of your graduate degree.
I'm majoring in soccer.
No, that is not the correct answer.
I am taking 4 classes so that I'm eligible to play. I'm taking turf, land, animal science, and there's one more that I can't remember, but I'm here to play soccer.
Okay.
Brutally honest, girl.
Brutally honest.
Brutally honest.
Leah, what about you?
Because she can take a certificate as a grad student. She can take a certificate.
Exactly.
Because she already has a degree. She's already graduated.
I did, yes, let's note that I did graduate.
Yes.
And your undergraduate degree is?
Labor studies and employment relations, which is
Okay.
like management and stuff. Yeah.
Management and stuff?
And stuff.
Yeah, okay. Good deal. What about you, Leah?
So I got my undergrad in education, and then I'm doing the Masters of Entrepreneurial Leadership here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who was I talking to on the team? Jazz Wilkinson.
So
doing the same
Jazz
thing.
has done that. Carlina Sample did
Right.
hers in that, and Grace McMillan is doing hers in that as well. Grace
Cool.
is going to finish up this semester in that.
Cool. All
so
right.
is Andy and Kate.
That's right, Andy and Kate both.
Yep.
So we've had several girls who have done. They've all really enjoyed. Are you enjoying the program?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
A lot of people have really enjoyed that program.
So, gee, no, I've asked them about how they ended up at Texas A&M. You visited with both of these girls when they came down here. I mean, what was it that sold you on these two girls? So not just you, but Phil Stevenson and the rest of the coaching staff.
So when we were looking in the transfer portal, we're actually really picky about what we're looking for with players, and for both of these guys, we were looking for experienced attacking-minded players who had played at a high level, which both of these players are both all-conference players. Both of them were, all-region type players. Allie's played in the Final Four already with Rutgers, and Leah is an all-region player out on the West Coast with Grand Canyon. We wanted players who were going to be leaders on the field, who had kind of leadership qualities, who could step in and would be comfortable in our setting. But we also wanted people who were going to be, hungry to get better while they were here, who wanted to play beyond being here, and they both kind of fit into that. And so then a lot of it is going to be, okay, how are they going to fit with the players? So then the next part of it is kind of the test of how are they going to fit in with, the environment. And
Right.
so sometimes when they come in, sometimes there's no players around. Sometimes
Right.
there are. And so that's a big issue is there anybody here, or are there no players here?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on when they come in and exams and all that kind of stuff is, do the players get a chance to be around them, and do we get a chance to get a kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down? And for these guys, we've always, obviously we got thumbs up on these guys
Sure.
because the players liked them. But then we have to try to also do our homework and get talk to former coaches of theirs and everything else, and get the scoop on, because we're not looking to bring poison into the apple cart as well. So we got all, we do our vetting as much as we possibly can, because we don't need to bring in anyone who's going to make us, more vulnerable to problems. We want people who are going to help us to be problem solvers, and these guys obviously passed with flying colors.
And by the way, I will tell you that what G just said is that's not coach speak. I mean, there have been players that have come in here and visited that they would offer otherwise, but for the fact that they just didn't fit. They just didn't fit with the players.
Yeah.
And because that is so critically important to a team.
Who we've said, thank you, no thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And otherwise, it wasn't a soccer thing. It was just a character thing in a way. But that's just the way it is, because it's that important. So both of you guys wanted to be here, and you're here, and we are so glad for it. And talk about this team. How did you, for both of you, you were at Rutgers for 4 years, and now all of a sudden you're coming in and you don't know anybody. I mean, was that a difficult thing for you?
It definitely was scary, but these girls didn't let me skip a beat. From the first time that I met them, they just included me. They were all so kind, so sweet, and like I feel like I've been here forever.
Yeah.
It's crazy how close I've gotten with these girls in such a short amount of time.
Leah, what about you?
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. It was definitely scary not knowing anyone, but same thing. Like, this is easily one of the friendliest, most genuine group of girls that I have come in contact with, and they definitely made sure that I felt welcomed and included, like, instantly as soon as I got there.
Well, again, we are glad you are here. And
I never know how this is going to go because you got a Jersey girl coming in to deal with Texas girls. I was a little worried. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but again, these guys fit in great. And I got a homeschool girl, same thing, you know. So,
it's even worse.
But they, definitely. But again, so that's an important part of how's the culture going to be, and how are they going to fit into the culture of the team. And then again, we're not trying to create cliques or a cliquey type of team. We just want, we want it to be mutually beneficial to everybody on the team. And so, again, these are both great people first, and people that are mutually. It's something that builds a better culture within the group.
Absolutely, and again, so glad that you decided to come to Texas A&M. You're going to do great things for this season is out. I know it, and in your case, Leah, 2 years, right?
Yep.
All right. Okay, we're going to take another quick break. Thanks again, Allison, Lowrey, Leah, Pirro, right over there in the middle, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to Texas A&M Soccer. All righty, we are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road, and Leah and Allie are still holding court here, talking with the folks who came to the show tonight. I'm glad, you've got to stop.
They're very shy.
I know. Stop recruiting these people who just won't come out of their shells.
It's a problem, isn't it?
It is a problem. I don't know how you do it. But all right. So, and one thing I forgot to mention, Sydney Fuller, by the way, named to the Top Drawer National Team of the Week, back for the week September 1st through the 6th, I believe it was.
From
back
her
when
performance against TCU, that was awesome.
Absolutely. Has 2 shutouts in 4 games. Great for Sid. She's got such a great future here at Texas A&M, as does Mason Veranda as well. Both of them, 2 outstanding freshman goalkeepers that the Aggies have. All right. One of the matches that we want to mention, this very special match each year here during the Aggie soccer season, is the Turn It Goal match on Sunday. And that's going to be this coming Sunday, 2 o'clock against Oklahoma. And this Turn It Gold match, it's just something I'm trying to think now. This got to be going on almost 10 years, I think, right? In association with Turn It Gold Foundation?
Yeah, because it goes well back to
Carly Moeller was here when we started.
It goes back into Carly Moeller days, and it's something that is near and dear to our hearts as far as the fight against pediatric cancer. And I think the women who have started the Turn It Gold Foundation, and going back to even Johnny Manziel days and his relationship with Charlie and all that, is the Turn It Gold Foundation was started by 2 Aggie moms, and it's an organization that has raised literally millions of dollars in the fight against juvenile cancer, and there's no administration fees that go along with this, unlike a lot of other cancer organizations. So all of the money raised goes directly to research against pediatric cancer. And I've gone on a couple different shows here this week talking about this, and more than 90,000 kids a year die from childhood cancer around the United States. And so anything we can do to lower that number is absolutely worth it. And one of the things that we've been doing for the last few years, and now Aggie baseball has started to come on board in the spring with this, is we try to raise money through this particular game. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be selling replica jerseys of the jerseys that our players are going to be wearing against Oklahoma this Sunday. And we'll also be auctioning off the actual jerseys our players are going to be wearing this Sunday. So you can go and bid on the actual game-worn jerseys of our players by going to 12thman.com/turnitgold. And then you can also come to the match and purchase one of our replica jerseys right there at the stadium. And those have always sold out at the stadium. So I suggest you get there to the game early, and the gates are going to open at 1 o'clock. Purchase one of those jerseys. They're pretty cool. If you go to social media, any of our social media outlets, but just go to @Aggie Soccer on either on Instagram or on the website or through X, and you'll see what these look like.
And it's a new design.
It is.
It really looks cool.
I
like it.
It's a really smart design, and the shirt company that has done the replicas of our Adidas jerseys has done a great job. And so, purchase those. 100% of the money raised goes right to the Turn It Gold Foundation, and that money, 100% of that, goes right to the source of fighting childhood cancer. So, please come and help us out with that, and please come to the game and help us to beat the hell out of the Sooners. It's a big game for us. Oklahoma is, I think, number 14. Is that correct?
I'm trying to find out.
Either number 14 or number 15 on the RPI right now.
14.
So they're 7-1 on the season. Matt Mott's done a wonderful job as far as going in and helping to turn around that program. They've played the right teams and have beaten those teams this season. They're scoring a ton of goals. They're very athletic, and it should be a very entertaining game. It always is. Whenever he was at Ole Miss, we'd always had some real barn burners against those guys. So I'm expecting nothing less when they come to town on Sunday.
Yeah, Matt Mott, one of the good guys in college soccer, and I wish him all the success in the world except Sunday, and I hope we beat the hell out of Oklahoma.
That's right.
But so enough about that. But you were right. Speaking, that kind of great segue into what we touched on a little bit earlier, and that is the SEC and their non-conference slate of games, and which is the results have been fantastic. The SEC, I think, second strongest conference in the country, won about 74-75% of their games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But here's the cool thing. You look at the RPI of teams in the SEC and teams that Texas A&M will play in the SEC.
Yep.
And you've got Auburn at number 3 in the country.
Yep.
Oklahoma at 14. Arkansas at 15. The Aggies play all of those teams.
Mississippi State at 33, Texas at 34, LSU at 39. So those are all teams in the top 40.
Yes.
So you've got
all of those on the A&M schedule.
Yep. And you've got 10 SEC teams are in the top 40. You've got 10 ACC teams in the top 41. You got 10 Big Ten teams in the top 40. So those three conferences are obviously dominating the top 40, and it's that's one of the cool things about our league, and it's going to be a deal where now, for the most part, any game that we play in the league is going to help us, and it has an opportunity of really kind of multiplying when you beat the right teams. When you beat those, if you can beat those teams, then you get a big boost. So, for example, one of the games people wouldn't have thought so much, but one of the games that was our biggest win last year was the win at Starkville when we were able to beat Mississippi State 1-0 in Stark Vegas. Was a huge win. It was a huge resume builder for us. So going and winning these games is so vitally important. So that's what we're looking at right now. So just in the next week, you've got obviously big game on Thursday at Mizzou. But then you've got number 14 coming to us on Sunday. Then you've got number 3 coming to us on next Thursday. And then we go to Texas, who's number 34, the following Sunday. So you've got 3 out of the next 4 games are top 40 teams, all opportunities for us to really make a big splash for ourselves. So we've got to stay healthy. We've got to get healthy in some ways, but we've got to do whatever we can to again, what we've talked about our players, intensity and execution. We've got to do what we can to be at our very, very best.
Texas A&M in this, with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma to the conference, the Aggies will still play 10 SEC matches. So we'll play 10 teams, 5 teams we will not play, and that's going to kind of rotate from one year to the next, right?
Well, this year, so here's the way it went. Okay, so we were given the opportunity to split into East and West,
right?
But we weren't allowed to call them divisions. We weren't.
You weren't allowed to use that D word.
No, we're not allowed to call because we're not playing divisions.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
So we're playing directionals, and then we had 3 crossover directionals.
Yes.
And so you're playing. So that way we had kind of traditional rivalries, and our crossovers, ironically, are Auburn and Alabama, who've always been on the old West side anyway. So it's kind of funny how it's kind of worked out that way. So that's the way it is this year, and this is like the last year that we're doing these directionals. So we can't. Next year we don't know what our schedule looks like. We haven't been told yet. But we wanted to do divisions. We wanted to have divisions.
By we, you mean the soccer coaches?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by a close vote of 16-0, we wanted to have that, and the conference said the vote's too close. We can't go that way.
Okay. All right. Okay, so what does this do to the SEC tournament? I know it's a long way off, but how is the SEC tournament set up this year?
So the SEC tournament is going to expand from 10 teams to 12 teams.
Okay.
So you'll have 6 games. You'll have. So I think we had 4 games on the first day.
Uh-huh.
So you'll still have several games on the first day, and you still have a few buys for the first through that first round. But there's more teams are playing on the first day, and it's an expanded tournament up to 12 teams.
I got you. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back for the final sprint to the finish. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. We'll be right back right after this. Back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Allison. I need to tell you that the 12th Man Foundation is the official fundraising organization and ticket provider for Texas A&M athletics. You can support a 75-year legacy and help shape the future of Aggie athletics by donating today at 12thmanfoundation.com. Once again, that's 12thmanfoundation.com. So the Aggies, as we have mentioned, 2 games this week, 6 p.m. on Thursday. Some places it's listed as 7 p.m., but it's actually a 6 p.m. start on Thursday at Missouri. And that's going to be on the SEC Network. You'll be able to listen on right here on this station, 97.3 FM, or you can listen on your 12th Man mobile app, on your Radio Aggieland app. Of course, for radio, pregame show starts at 5:45 here Central Time. And then on Sunday, 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And again, you'll be able to listen to the game on the SEC mobile app, on the Radio Aggieland app, or right here on Gospel 97.3. That game, pregame show starts at 1:45, 2 p.m. start to the contest. And then, again, coming up next week, I mean, Coach G talked about it. I mean, critical 3-game stretch here. You've got Auburn coming in. I mean, It's a huge stretch. We're going to need everybody out at Ellis Field, and I say this a lot, but it is so true. The 12th man makes a huge, huge difference at Ellis Field because you're so close to the action. You have such a big impact on the game itself. And if you don't think that those players on the opposing team hear you, I can assure you they do. And I can also assure you that these Aggies who are out there on the field playing for you hear you and appreciate it very, very much. So come on out to Ellis Field. Again, that's 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. That's the next opportunity to watch the Aggies at Ellis Field. Can you tell us a little bit about Missouri?
Well, they have traditionally been one of the tougher teams to play against. Stephanie Golan does a wonderful job there. Stephanie was a great player at Duke in her day, and she has was a coach at Army at West Point, and did a wonderful job in taking that program and putting them really on the map, and and she did a great job in kind of raising the national perspective of that program, of the West Point program. She went from there to Minnesota, and kind of raised the national the national view on the Gophers program and the whole issue of take the stairs, and kind of a blue collar mentality of how those players were going to really just work hard, and they were going to take the stairs instead of the elevator, and they were very, very successful. That team at Minnesota was year in and year out went from being one of the mid-tier teams in the Big Ten to being a team that was vying for championships and vying for a real seat at the table against the Penn States and the Rutgers and the top teams in the league. And she then went from there to down to Missouri, and she's she's trying to resurrect a program that Brian Blitz had year in and year out vying for championships. And she's done it through she knows that Mizzou is right between two real youth hotbeds in Kansas City and in St. Louis. She knows that they've got obviously it's in the SEC. You've got great potential, and they've got some real athletes on the team. They play a style that's really hard to play against. It's been hard for us to play against. I know that. We haven't beaten them since she's been there.
Right.
We drew against them here when we went up there in 2021. In a game
don't get me started on that. I still have bad memories.
I know. In a game that we needed a draw, and had a couple goals called back, and again, an interesting called game. We didn't
That's
get
one word I could think of.
yeah, we didn't get the result that we needed, and our season ended.
Yes.
And just kind of a crazy tough game, but it was a crazy tough game partly because the way that they played us. They're a really hard, well-organized team to play against, and they've got some explosive players. Simmons, who was their leading scorer last year, is only just scored her first goal a game and a half ago, but she's someone who she's there as a fixture in their attack. They've got Milena Fisher, who's also someone who's a leading scorer right now, and who's always kind of active in the attack, who's someone who's going to be there that we have to know where she is all the time. I think the goalkeeper is someone who's a real strong in the way that she plays, Bella Hollenbeck, and is a very athletic, hard to beat. They're coming off of a tough loss just like we are. They went and played against Stephanie's alma mater at Duke, and Robbie Church's team kind of put a hurting on them. So they're licking their wounds just like we are coming into this game. So they'll have a lot to prove. I'm sure that they've had some real soul searching this past week, and they're going to be looking to kind of right the wrongs from that last game, and we're the next team coming up. So I know that they'll be ready for us, and they've had results against us recently. So Lord knows they'll be ready for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned about Kylie Simmons. She's a senior striker for Missouri, and she just has one goal so far this season, I think, with 3 assists. Last year she had 11 goals. Okay, this is a good player, and we got to make sure that she doesn't decide to break out of that scoring slump against us. So she is an outstanding player for Missouri. So they are a plenty capable team, and then the Aggies are going to have to be on their game to be able to come out of Columbia with a win. That's for sure.
Yep.
And then again to get right back at it on Sunday. And the other thing, of course, the Aggies have is not an excuse, because we're not going to have any excuses. But I mean, the Aggies got to refocus because of the short turnaround. I mean, getting back early Monday morning, and then turning around and leaving a day and a half later to go to Missouri and play on the road again. So it's going to be a tough one. But we're going to need you to be back out at Ellis Field on Sunday afternoon. And again, that game gets underway at 2:00. And so be sure and if you be sure to get out to LSVille. But if you can't make it, you can always listen here on 97.3 FM. And again, come on out Sunday because it's the Turn It Goal game, and your attendance not only helps Texas A&M soccer, but it does so much for the Turn It Goal Foundation.
That's right. And so if you need a cause, we got a couple causes for you. One of them is Turn It Goal. The other one is Texas A&M needs you for a big SEC win and to help us kind of keep pushing this ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely. And the Aggies, again, it's going to be a national broadcast, I think, Thursday evening, I believe, on SEC Network.
Correct.
So
on the linear network.
On the linear network on your TV. So here's the deal. Just turn them down, okay? Thomas Dick and I will have the call on the radio and on the streaming app, so we'll be able to tell you what's really going on out there on the pitch, okay? So be sure and just turn them down, turn us up, and we'll give you what's going on. So, G, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I think it's great to be back. We appreciate everyone for coming out tonight, and it's always great to see folks here live at Rudy's. It's always great to be back here at Rudy's. We look forward to seeing y'all next Tuesday, and of course, look forward to seeing y'all out on Sunday at the Turn It Gold game, and appreciate everyone's help. We've got doing a Aggie Soccer Club Zoom meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. Those of you who are members of the Aggie Soccer Club, we'll see you here at 8 o'clock on Zoom, and look forward to chatting with everybody there.
All righty, that's going to about do it for us. I need to read this for you. This is a copyrighted broadcast. It's an exclusive presentation of Learfield IMG College under broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield IMG College. Announcers are provided by Learfield IMG College and Texas A&M University. I want to say thanks to Jeanette over here to my right and Blake back at the station for keeping us on the air. For G Guerrieri, I'm David Ellis. Thanks for listening, everybody. Gig 'em.